For your entire life, you've been told the same thing. Drink your milk and your bones will stay strong. It sounds so obvious that almost nobody questions it. But here's what nobody tells you. After 50, that sentence stops being true. Not because milk changed, but because your body did. You can drink a glass every single day and still lose bone. In this video, I'll show you exactly where that milk goes wrong inside you, layer by layer, what's actually in the glass, and what genuinely protects your bones instead. Let's start with the thing almost everyone gets backwards. Calcium in milk is not the same as calcium in your bones. Think of milk as a delivery truck. It pulls up to your door carrying a package, calcium. But a delivery only counts if 4 things happen. Someone signs for it. It gets routed to the right address. The door opens. And there's a building worth delivering to. In a young body, all 4 happen automatically. After 50, every single one starts to fail. And you never feel it happening. Step 1. Signing for the package. That job belongs to vitamin D. Without enough of it, calcium isn't absorbed from your gut at all. It passes through you and leaves. Here's the part that matters. Your skin's ability to make vitamin D from sunlight drops sharply with age. By your 70s, your skin produces a fraction of what it did in your 20s. So the truck keeps arriving, but nobody's home to sign. You're drinking the milk. The calcium is right there, and most of it walks straight back out. There's a detail almost nobody knows here. Vitamin D can't do its job alone either. It needs magnesium to be converted into its active form. And magnesium is one of the most commonly underconsumed minerals in the modern diet. So you can take vitamin D, drink your milk, and still have the whole chain stall at the first step. Because the one mineral that switches D on isn't there. Leafy greens, nuts, seeds, and beans are where magnesium lives. Milk is not a meaningful source of it. Step 2. The address. Say the calcium does get absorbed. It's in your bloodstream now. But calcium in your blood is not calcium in your bones. And this is where it gets serious. Calcium needs a specific signal to be pulled out of the blood and locked into bone tissue. That signal comes largely from vitamin K2. Without it, calcium floats with nowhere to go, and it settles wherever it can, including the walls of your arteries. Read that again. The same calcium you drank for your bones can end up hardening the very vessels that feed your heart. It's not that milk is poison, it's that the package was delivered to the wrong address, because nobody routed it. Step 3. The door. Your gut. Here's a fact that surprises almost everyone. Most adults on Earth gradually lose the ability to fully digest lactose. The enzyme that breaks it down, lactase, runs strong in childhood and slowly turns down over decades. For some people, it's nearly gone by 50. And it doesn't always announce itself as obvious intolerance. It shows up quietly. Bloating after breakfast, a heaviness you blame on something else, a gut that's mildly irritated all the time. And an irritated gut absorbs everything less efficiently, including calcium. So the very drink you're using to build bone can be narrowing the doorway it has to come through. Let me ask you straight. Do you drink milk regularly and still feel bloated, heavy, or off in the morning? Type yes in the comments. Because if that's you, the next part explains exactly what's happening inside. So that's the delivery system. Now let's talk about something left out of every conversation about milk. How much you're actually drinking. And this part isn't only about being over 50, it applies to young people too. Milk is deceptively easy to overconsume. It goes down fast, it doesn't fill you up the way solid food does, and the calories never register the way calories in a meal do. 3 or 4 glasses of whole milk a day is a meaningful load of saturated fat that most people never account for. At 25, your body absorbs that hit and moves on. After 50, when your heart has decades of wear behind it and your metabolism has slowed, the same load lands differently. There's a second issue almost nobody knows about. Milk produces a surprisingly strong insulin response, noticeably higher than you'd predict from its sugar content alone. It's the protein driving it, not just the lactose. In a single glass, that's nothing. In large daily volumes, repeated for years, you're asking your system to work harder than it ever needed to. And there's a third thing that gets missed entirely. If you fill up on milk, you eat less of everything else. Large amounts of milk are known to interfere with iron absorption, and heavy milk drinkers often end up with a narrower diet overall. Fewer vegetables, less variety, fewer of the exact nutrients we just talked about. More calcium doesn't mean better bones either. Past a certain point, extra calcium simply stops adding benefit, and very high intakes have been linked to strain on the kidneys. So the rule was never milk is bad. The rule is, moderation works, volume doesn't. That's true at 25. It's more true at 55. Now here's the part that will genuinely surprise you. The milk in your fridge may not be the milk you think you're buying. Take skim milk. For decades it was sold as the healthy choice. Remove the fat, remove the problem. But here's what got lost in that story. Vitamins A and D are fat-soluble. They need fat to be absorbed. When you strip the fat out of milk, you strip out the vehicle those vitamins ride on. That's exactly why manufacturers add them back in. Those words on the carton, fortified with vitamin D, exist precisely because the natural pathway was removed. There's more. Removing fat changes how milk behaves inside you. Fat slows digestion. Take it out, and what's left, the natural sugars and the protein, reaches your bloodstream faster. Which is the opposite of what most people over 50 want. And pasteurization, the heating step that makes milk safe? It genuinely does make it safe, and that trade is absolutely worth it. This is not something to skip or work around. But heat does slightly reduce some of the more fragile vitamins, like certain B vitamins and vitamin C. It's not dramatic. It's just one more reason the glass in front of you isn't quite the nutritional powerhouse it was marketed as. So, when you're standing in the dairy aisle, what should you actually look for? Whole or 2% over skim, if your heart health allows it. Check that vitamin D is listed. And if the label says milk drink or lists added sugars or flavorings, put it back. That's a dessert wearing milk's reputation. So if milk isn't the whole answer, what is? Let's talk about what actually gets calcium into your bones. First, other calcium sources, and some of them beat milk outright. Leafy greens like kale, bok choy, and broccoli carry calcium your body absorbs remarkably well, often better than the calcium in milk. Canned sardines and salmon, eaten with the soft bones, are dense in both calcium and vitamin D at once. Sesame seeds, almonds, tofu set with calcium, and beans all contribute. Spinach is the exception worth knowing. It looks high in calcium on paper, but its oxalates lock most of it away. What about plant milks? Here's the honest answer. Most of them are mostly water, and their calcium comes entirely from fortification. So check the label and shake the carton, because that added calcium settles at the bottom. Almond milk is nutritionally thin. Oat milk carries more carbohydrate than people expect. Soy milk is the one that comes closest to dairy on protein. None of them are magic. Fortified is fine. Unfortified is just flavored water. Then there's protein, and this is one people get badly wrong. Your bones are not just minerals. Roughly a third of bone is a protein framework, and mineral is laid onto it. Without enough protein, there's nothing to build on. And protein needs actually rise after 50, not fall, because older bodies use it less efficiently. Milk does provide good protein. That part of its reputation is earned. And now the one almost nobody talks about. Bone is living tissue. It responds to demand. If you never place load on your skeleton, your body has no reason to invest in maintaining it, no matter how much calcium you send. This is why the strongest evidence for bone health after 50 isn't a drink at all. It's resistance. Weight-bearing movement. Carrying things. Standing up out of a chair without using your hands. Walking with purpose. Your bones are listening to what you ask of them, and if you ask nothing, they answer accordingly. So here's what ties all of this together. Your bones were never built by calcium alone. They're built by calcium that arrives, gets signed for, gets routed correctly, gets through the door, and by a body that's been given a reason to keep that structure strong. Here's what to actually do, starting this week. 5 changes, and not one of them requires giving up milk. 1. Stop treating milk as your bone strategy. Treat it as one food among several. A glass a day is fine. 3 or 4 isn't a plan. It's a habit worth examining. 2. Handle your vitamin D. Sunlight when you can get it, and if you're older or live somewhere with long winters, talk to your doctor about testing your levels. Without D, none of the rest works. 3. Add K2 and magnesium to your week. Fermented foods, aged cheeses, and egg yolks for K2. Leafy greens, nuts, seeds, and beans for magnesium. This is the step almost everyone is missing, and it's the difference between calcium reaching your bones and calcium settling somewhere you don't want it. 4. If milk leaves you bloated or heavy, believe your body. Try lactose-free milk or fermented dairy like yogurt and kefir. Fermentation breaks down much of the lactose, and it's usually far easier on an older gut. 5. Load your skeleton. 2 or 3 sessions a week of resistance work, even body weight, even at home. This does more for your bones after 50 than any glass of anything. So here's the truth. Milk was never a magic bone drink. It was one delivery service, and after 50, the system around it needs help. The people who keep their bones strong into their 80s aren't the ones drinking the most milk. They're the ones who made sure the deliveries actually arrive. So tell me in the comments, how much milk do you drink in a day? And which of these 5 steps have you been missing without knowing it?